Hi, good morning. This is our lesson, Artwork. Artworks. Learning targets at the end of the session. The learners should be able to 1. Discuss and interpret artworks, paintings, and political caricatures as sources of historical data. 2. Examine the perspective of these artworks. Create your own artwork that will describe the country's current socio- socio-economic or socio-political conditions. Historical paintings are visual representation of concrete happenings on the life of people in specific period. The idea about certain events and people is communicated or expressed aesthetically through art with form, technique, and style. Essentially, these paintings are instrumental to the visualization of the reality which stands equally with text, photos, caricatures, and films. Illustrations, drawings, and photographs play a large part in the study of history. These sources have stories to tell and enable us to distinguish details that give us insight into something beyond the text. There are also record there are also a record of the past useful historians. Photographs and illustrations reflect social conditions of historical realities and everyday life and indicate the situation of past societies. Editorial cartoons, on the other hand, are sources of political expression or propaganda in the historical era in which they came out. History painting, a genre of painting that was influential from the mid 15th century through the 19th century. A history painting was generally understood to depict an important event or an action involving several people. These events could be historical, religious, mythical, or the stuff of fable. History of History painting was long considered to be the highest and most challenging genre of painting due to its connection to powerful subject matter and its ability to educate the public in lofty themes and virtues.
Why study art from the past? Art from the past hold clues to life in the past. By looking at work of art symbolisms, colors, and materials, we can learn about the culture that produced it. For example, the two portraits above are full of symbolisms, referring to virtues of an ideal marriage during the 15th century. The young woman portrait contains symbol of chastity or the unicorn and fertility, the rabbits, virtues that were important for a Renaissance woman to possess. After decoding the symbolism in these portraits, we can learn what was important to these people and how they wanted to be remembered. Juan Luna, 1857 to 1899, is best known for impressive rendition of classical subjects in his academic works. These works include historical scene and portraiture. However, subsequently, he turned to realism depicting social inequalities. Fernando Amorsolo, 1892 to 1972, delights people of his impressionistic technique depicting idyllic country scenes, beautiful maidens, and colorfully dressed peasants planting or harvesting rice. So, this is the artwork of Juan Luna. So, it is called the Spoliarium, no? The message behind Luna's artwork Spoliarium, no? Spoliarium, the paint shows how the Filipinos were treated before when they were colonized by Spaniards, no? He actually indicated the purpose of Juan Luna for painting the Spoliarium, which is painted to awaken Filipino from ignorance, blindness, mental darkness, and oppression. So the artwork by Fernando Amorsolo, Man with Roster. Man with a Cockerel, painted in 1938, no, shows a rare deviation in Amorsolo's oeuvre. So when we say oeuvre, no, it is a substantial body of work. These less idealistic paintings stand apart from the typical Amorsolos painting in aspect of subject, composition, light, and color. So this is Tampuhan, no? It is also the artwork of Juan Luna. No? Tampuhan shows a Filipino couple, no, sulking in their corner in the living room. The man, who is believed to be Bautista Lin, is looking outside a large Capiz shell window. The woman, Emilia Trinidad, seated, is staring at the floor.
Political caricature is the understanding of politics and society in a certain period of time, can be known and understood not only through text but also through cartoons or caricatures. So a political caricature is a type of drawing that is used to present a comment, opinion, or criticism on a particular event, person, and situation. It is also known as editorial cartoon found in a newspaper. So, the word caricature means a picture or description or imitation of a person in which certain striking characteristics are exaggerated in order to create a comic. Philippine cartoons, political caricatures of American era. Philippine political cartoons gained full expression during the American era. Filipino artists recorded national attitudes towards the coming of the Americans as well as the changing war times. While the 377 cartoons compiled in this book speak for themselves, historian Alfred Paco's extensive research in Philippine and American archives provides a comprehensive background not only to the cartoon but the turbulent period as well. So, artist-writer Alfredo Ruzes, who designed the book, contributes an essay on Philippine graphic satire of period. So, Alfred Marquez is a professor of the Southeast Asian history. The Philippine cartoon gained a lot of achievements. In simple terms, Marquez depicts the injustice and unfair treatments experienced by the tenant farmers. So, this political caricature clearly illustrates how landowners usually strip the tenant farmers of the rightful. So, the difference of cartoons and caricature is on cartoons is simplified illustration that has quick, whimsical style to it, while ang caricature is specifically an illustration of a person drawn in an exaggerated style to play up their distinctive features.
Professor Alfred McCoy. In his book, Philippine Cartoons, Political Caricature of the American Era, from 1900 to 1941, Alfred McCoy, together with Alfredo Roses, compiled political cartoons published in newspaper dailies and periodicals in the aforementioned time period. El Candidato Longino, the satirical cartoon from the July 17, 1907 issue of the Lipang Kalabaw, Lipag Kalabaw, a weekly satirical magazine published in Manila, shows Philippine Assembly candidate Dominador Gomez as the Roman Centurion Longinus delivering the final spear blow to the crucified freedom fighters. From left, Macario Sakay, Francisco Carrion, Julian Montalan, and Lucio de Vega, who were all sentenced to death for banditry by the American government.